Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. I have a special guest today, Maria Fontana. We have met through social media. We feel like we're
Mhm.
old friends. We've never met in person. We're going to work on that though. We're going to
Yeah.
we're going to meet in Italy at some point.
Yeah.
I'm determined. Maria is an amazing consultant for our wonderful industry and has so much to offer to everyone. She's behind the chair. She's written a book. She's worn all of the hats, and I love having her as my guest to chat about all things hair and beauty. And but especially we were chatting when we talked about doing this about the news and how the
Mm.
economy is being talked about and the scarcity mentality. Like the Gary V. He popped onto my Instagram. I'm like, oh crap, Gary V's talking about saving. I better start saving. He always seems to know what's going on. And he said, tighten up the purse strings. We're going into another recession, and we've seen it, right,
Mhm.
Maria? You've seen the price of milk, the price of bread, the
Mhm.
price of gas. So all the
Mhm.
signs are there. But you and I also have been through this several times, and we know that it's also an amazing time to level up and take advantage of things, of everybody else stopping spending. So let's
Yes.
chat about that.
Well, thanks for having me, Elaine. Always an honor. Love being with you. Yeah, and love sharing like good feedback. So yeah, I always tell everybody, when you're in business as long as I have been, 37 years, since I'm 19 years old, I've been through a few wars. I've been through recessions. I've been through pandemics. I've been through the shit hitting the fan and all different things. I've been, my own personal stuff, divorce, this, that. So, I really want to share with everyone that it really is about what you believe in your own head, right? Like I don't personally listen to the news, which may sound like an ignoramus move, but
I'm
in
right.
my
I'm right
own
there with you. My husband yells at me all the time. Do you
well,
even watch the news? I'm like, no, I'm
no.
married to you. You give me the cliff notes. I don't
Yeah,
need to
well,
be
I tell my
depressed.
husband too. I'm like, and then my clients, I'm like, just if I need to know something super important, like I have to like take cover, I'll know.
Let me
But why
know.
I took on this strategy, and I'm not telling you to not watch the news, but when I started working on myself personally, now what does that mean? For a lot of us in this industry, like I had no idea what the hell that meant, like working on myself, like healing myself. I hit rock bottom many years ago and I had to get some help. I had to get some support. I was depressed. I had anxiety. I couldn't sleep at night. I was eating myself into oblivion, blah, 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 all like the stuff that comes with that. And it could have other faces too. It's not just limited to what I'm saying. So I found a great healer slash therapist and I started working through whatever my past traumas were, whatever the BS was from my childhood, whatever was making me feel that way, my own unhappiness or whatever, my own beliefs. So where am I going with this? That the core of getting through anything that's bumpy, because guys, life is not linear. I tell my kids this all the time. I'm like, life is not like it's not linear. It's up and down, up and down. And as life is up and down, your career is up and down, your business can be up and down, but these are outside forces that you can still control the inside forces. So working on myself started to make me realize that I had control on how I reacted to things, right, Elaine? You've been through that too, right?
Yep.
So as I started to work on myself personally, meaning going to therapy, going for massages, getting a healer, doing Reiki, reading. I read so many personal development and growth books that I read actually over and over again, because I will tell you what I found. I think it's like 22 years now I'm working on myself. Yeah, because my kid's 22, and that's when I hit rock bottom after I had my first kid. Um, the book I read today, I may have read 5 years ago, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember reading this. But you know why? Because I wasn't ready. I wasn't there yet, which is
Yep.
fine.
You're in a different
Right?
place when you're reading it. And that's why I get so frustrated when I'm reading a book and it's so resonating and I'll share it with a friend and they'll be like, didn't love it. I'm like, how can you not love that? But then I'm like, they're not in the same place that I am when I'm reading it. So it's
Right.
whatever resonates with you at any given
Right.
time.
And meeting yourself and others where you're at and being nice about it. So the most important thing going into whatever's happening outside, I don't care if they're talking about every negative thing that's going on. I won't even give it energy because that's just how I believe. I didn't want to say the words. Whatever you're hearing, change the subject. And it's not being your head in the sand, it's actually controlling your environment. It's actually having control over your space. So if you're in your salon and you can control that conversation with the client, it's actually you redirecting it. Because when we continue to feed into the conversations, like here's an example, like someone will be like, oh, what's going on? I have no money. I'm going to have to cut back and discount. Well, change the conversation to something you love. Well, Jane, tell me what you really love about your experience in coming into the salon. What do you really love? Well, I love getting my roots touched up. So change that conversation. Don't feed into it. And even this is with friends and family. If you change the conversation to what you love, energetically, your mindset's going to shift. Because if we're constantly talking about what we hate, because God, come on, Elaine, even it's so easy to get into what we hate. Oh, I hate my hair. I hate my skin. I hate this. I hate that. Before you know it, that is what causes our negative mindset to get out of control, right? And it's not easy to do, but it's possible to do because you're in control. So shifting little things. Shift the music you listen to while you're working. Shift the conversation. Shift what you do first thing in the morning. Little steps, right? And another thing is when I started working on myself and shifting my mindset, I didn't believe a fucking thing the lady was telling me. I was like, yeah, right. How many joints did you smoke? She's telling me this stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay. Because I was skeptical because I wasn't there yet.
Yep.
And you may be resonating with that right now, and that's okay. So what she taught me to do, and I started to do, was let me compile evidence. So I would do one little thing. So I think the first thing I did, God, we're going back a long time. Maybe I booked an appointment with myself for 10 minutes in my book. I had little kids back then. So I made an appointment. I would go hide in the bathroom. I would turn the shower on, and they knew that 10 minutes, and I would go read one of my personal development books that I had no idea what that book was talking about because it was so...
How not to murder my family so that I
It
can
was
have
jargon
peace.
at the time. But I started that. So that was like step one. After a few weeks, I started to realize I started to feel better, and I looked forward to that. Then I added the next thing. Every little thing I did, then I started to see I felt better. I looked better. I had more time suddenly. Then I compiled my pile of proof. So if you're a skeptic, do tiny little things, but you got to do them. And these piles of proof then made me realize, okay, then I can rebuild my life, or I can manifest an X amount of, 6 figures in 6 months behind the chair. I can rebuild my business. I can reach whatever it is your goal is, I can sleep at night again without anxiety. And by doing an intentional action and actually taking these steps, I was able to shift my mindset, shift my life, shift my finances. And guys, I always talk about this, and it's don't stay in the pity party. Don't stay on the busy bus. We all have problems. Like my life might look spectacular online to you right now because I know a lot of you watching follow me. And my life's pretty damn good, but I've got bad days. And I've had bad days, and my life wasn't always that way. So remember, though, but I took responsibility, and I said, you know what? I'm going to change my mindset. I am not listening to the news because my therapist told me not to. And I didn't share that with anybody, right? So the next tip I'm going to share with you is don't share your good stuff with everyone. Only share it with people who can support you and cheer you on. And that's okay. Right? Like, You can't share your good stuff with everyone. Like Elaine and I know I could call Elaine because we're on the same page, and it's 100% love and support and good vibes and intelligent, heart-centered feedback. As colleagues, as women, as friends, as beauty professionals, as a barrage of things. So look around you today. And if you want to create a wealth mindset and you want to create a life that's not stressful and crazy, that you can actually step into and have a lucrative career, look who's around you. Look who you're talking to. Look at what's coming out of your mouth. Look at what you're listening to. And take one intentional step to change one little thing every day and write it down. Be like, today I'm going to change this. It could be, I love drinking wine, but drinking wine every night made me feel like crap sometimes. So I was like, all right, I'm going to stop drinking wine every single day, and I'm going to leave it for just Fridays and Saturdays. And I'm going to limit how much wine I drink. And again, it might sound like a trivial thing, but it shifted everything for me. Instead of drinking the wine, I went for a walk. But if I didn't take that intentional action, it wouldn't have made a difference. And again, I'm just trying to give you guys real examples, right?
I love the quote, if you think you can or you think you can't, you'll always be right. Mm-hmm. And I remember hearing that and being like, what the hell does that even mean? But it's so true. It's whatever you feel about yourself is what's going to show up. Mm-hmm. And then the other one is, what you put your attention on grows and expands. So if you keep saying, I'm so broke, I'm so broke, I'm so broke, I'm so broke, you're always going to be broke. Like everything that you harp on and focus on gets bigger. The problem gets bigger. So shifting your attention to how can I change this in some small way. Also in the salon, I was thinking when you were saying about changing the subject, I can't tell you how many days as the owner of the salon that I came in with my panties in a bunch and the hair lip and the look out, get out of my way. I am on it was like, oh boy, we would joke. I don't know if you remember, Maria, in Pennsylvania, a woman went into a mall with a shotgun and just started shooting people. Her name was Sylvia Segrist. God. So my nickname on those days became Sylvia.
Oh my God.
So when I would walk in, they would go, oh shit, Sylvia's in the house. And they would all scatter and be like, get out of her way. And what I noticed, shame on me for bringing that into the salon. This was in my earlier years when I didn't know better.
You did the best you could at the moment.
I did the best I could. I was so overwhelmed and so young and so not knowing what to do with the moods. And I watched it domino through the entire building. By an hour and a half of me being in that building, every single person in the building was in a mood because they were reactive to my behavior and my actions. It was allergic. It's like it jumps on everyone because they're like, oh, she didn't even, a client would be like, she didn't even say hello. That was rude. Like someone who I know and love and would always make a big fuss over, I probably mowed right by to throw my pocketbook down to get started because something that happened at home that had nothing to do with work. So, we are that 2x2 area that we do hair is our own stage and we're always on and people are always watching. And when you think they're not, you're completely kidding yourself. People are watching our behaviors, our actions, what we look like. I always talk about branding and showing up. Like if we are going into, I was just saying to my husband, everybody's talking about recession, pull back. I'm hearing so many salons closed during COVID that this is the best time to be a hairdresser. There's all these clients floating around with no home. Yeah. So you can flip the script, just like we're saying, it's all your attitude. It could be, I'm so slow, or it could be, hey, I got to find those people that are lost from those salons that are closing and have a creative way to reach them.
Yeah, it comes down to, again, it's about believing what you deserve, believing what you're worth. And listen, guys, I get it. If you've got past stuff and things that were ingrained in you, I can tell you, and I know Elaine can tell you, we're here to tell you that you can shift that. Because a thought is a thought and a thought can be changed. Our thoughts feed our actions and our energy feeds our results. So as you're walking into your salon or even your own suite, whatever it is you have, remember that your own energy, without you saying a word, already is expanding outside of you. And I know this might sound a little like woo-woo and like witchy. It's not. It's scientific. You can research it. Your energy is felt. And just the way you feel people's energy, they feel your energy. It's super important. And by shifting your mindset in this time, think outside the box. Ask people what they want. Do you know how I've stayed in business 37 years and changed my business model and pivoted and shifted? I don't go into crazy mode. I'm like, what do I need to do to feel good? Do I need to make my salon smaller? That's what I did over the years. I got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller because it's what resonates with me. And then I could show up happy. I love going to work. Why am I still behind the chair? I don't have to be financially because I love it now. I hated it for a few years where I'd be mumbling under my breath, like, I don't want to fucking do this. This is my neck hurts, my back hurts. Because it's hard work. But as we shifted my business model and shifted my price point and shifted, now that's a whole nother conversation, the business end of it, it became something that I absolutely love. So I can have both businesses. I have 3 businesses. I have a consulting business for beauty and wellness professionals. I own an organic salon in New Jersey, and it's a boutique salon. So it's small and it's very high end. And I have a brand of hair care products, Bella Max Beauty, organic hair care products that I created myself years ago that just runs on autopilot. So, I'm busy, but I'm busy doing things that I love. And the key here, guys, is anybody who's really successful will tell you in these downturns in the economy is when you have the most opportunity. This is when people get very wealthy if your mindset is there. So ask the clients what they want. Listen to your people. Don't think of it as losing. Change your offers in the salon to accommodate what people want. People sometimes think, again, it depends. Maybe you want to add in a membership model. There's a million ways to do this. I ask people, what do you need right now? And then you look at your books. What am I doing the most of? Where's my bread and butter money? How can I get recurring revenue? And sometimes just creating a simple membership model where they're not spending more than maybe like $3 less, and then everything's an upsell. But you're like, if you have 100 people at, I don't know, $97 a month for just a root touch-up, I'm just making shit up. You just know $9,700 a month on auto pays coming in. That kind of changes the trajectory. If you have a small salon, you're like, okay, I know 10 grand's coming in every month, and these people are going to come, and then they're going to upsell for the blowout. They're going to upsell for that haircut. They're going to upsell for the few face framers, and they're not going to feel it as much. And you could do it for a limited time. You could do it just to get through this time. You could test it. You're in charge. You can do anything you want.
It's funny that you brought that up because I wrote that in my notes that I wanted to talk about. Madison Reed has been all over my Facebook.
Oh, I know.
And they just did a monthly, come as many times as you want to get your roots done. And to the average client, even though your client is only coming once a month to you, them hearing that and knowing they can come sooner, even though they won't, sounds like a big bargain to them. So it's that's going to get people's attention. That's another thing that we have to be on our toes about, knowing what else is out there. What are our clients? And I love that you're saying, ask the clients, because chances are, you could be behind the chair going, oh my God, can you believe I just saw about, don't bring it to their attention. Let them tell you what they need, and what's going on over here, but don't bring it up to them. Just say, how can I better serve you? What do you need? What can we do to accommodate your needs? And sometimes it's so simple. Like I had a client tortured me for a hook on the back of the bathroom door to hang her shirt when she was changing into a robe. It was like something I never even, because I don't change into a robe. I'm there to work. I'm not there to get my hair done.
Right.
So it was something so simple that she was like, every time I go in there, when I take my shirt off, I'm like, what do I do with my shirt while I'm putting the robe on? And I was like, thank you for bringing that to my attention. Like it's just like an oversight. I had another client who was very, what's the word? Challenged with moving. Now her mobility had been challenged. She had some kind of thing where she had to walk with a walker. And she was like a really dear friend of mine too. That Christmas, She bought me a handicap bar for the bathroom.
Oh,
And I remember I get this big box. I'm like, oh, I got this great present from my buddy. And I open it up and it's a handicap bar for the bathroom. So I was like, okay, obviously that was something I overlooked. And she purchased it for herself rather than ask me for it. But those are two simple little things that
mhm,
had I known, of course I would have done.
right.
But they don't always tell us unless we ask.
Right. And I'm seeing, and I know you're seeing it, and I'm going to address it. And I really don't give a shit who doesn't like this because I
Oh
feel like
boy. Oh boy. Do I have to change the rating on my podcast for this?
now, um, I see a lot of hate culture on the clients online.
Oh yes.
And I think it needs to be, again, it's a mindset. So don't get stuck in a toxic mindset of like me. Think of yourself as a physician. You're a high-end specialist. Okay, we'll talk about my oral surgeon who I adore. If you need a wisdom tooth pulled, Dr. John, he's my man. You know why? He's professional. He's got his features and his benefits clearly articulated, what he's offering, why he's the best, why his price is that much. And guess what? No one questions him. You know why? Because he's showing up as the specialist he is. So drop the negativity around attacking the clients. There's always going to be a few challenging clients, but if you show up in your right energy, I will tell you, this is something I have proven to myself over the 37 years. I don't attract those people anymore because as you change, your energy changes, how you show up changes. Those people are no longer aligned. And guys, this is very, I don't want to say spiritual, but it's very, this is energetics and mindset. You are a reflection. So sometimes when something's coming at you over and over, you're like, that might be a reflection of something you have to work on. So think,
100%.
right, Elaine, think about working on yourself and think about where you can improve yourself, how you show up, your professionalism, your energy, and maybe becoming more specialized, really investing in yourself. And that way, those people coming in the door are going to be so much more aligned with you. They're going to be happy to pay you. I have not heard one person say anything to me about the recession in the past 2 months, at least in my salon. You know why? Not because I'm great. There's a million great people just as talented as me or more talented, because I'm very clear in who I attract. People who come in, they let me know what they need. If they need to change something, it's not about the discount. This is another idea. It's about changing. Don't discount, just shift the services. If people just really need that root touch up and they don't need, they don't want to spend X amount of dollars, then shift what you're giving them where it's working for you. Don't make it like you're giving them a break or a discount. Just change the service offerings. Give them a membership temporarily. I can assure you they're going to spend the same thing. And if you're having a lot of tugging and pulling with those type of clients, I would revisit your own mindset, your own gut. What are you bringing in every day? Your own fears. Are you afraid of not having enough money? Did someone tell you that you weren't going to make enough money? Do we have time? I got to tell a story, Elaine, because it just came to my brain.
Yeah, we've done.
I had such a lack money mindset when I started. I started my first salon at 19. My mother, when I told her I was going to beauty school in high school, she threw herself on the floor and was crying. Italian, typical. I'm just speaking for myself. I'm not criticizing. My mother was mortified. To her, being a hairdresser was like bottom of the barrel. How could you do this to me? You're smart. So-and-so's kid's a doctor, a lawyer. I can't believe you're doing this. I struggled for the first few years of my business. I was hitting six figures in 1991, which that was a lot of money like back then. I never felt good enough. I never felt I just didn't feel like it was enough because I believed that what was programmed into my mind was it wasn't enough. When I started shifting how I showed up for myself, And I stepped into, I remember I was like 22 years old, and I started to realize, like, this isn't about what my mother thinks. I have a hell of a business. People love what I'm doing. Wow, look, these new products are coming out. I remember when Golbo made colorants. Like, this is how old I am. Like, I'm like, oh my God, what a demi color. This is a new thing we can use. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting off target. My own beliefs changed the trajectory of my life over and over and over again. Because as you grow and evolve, your beliefs change. So if you're operating from, yeah, I'm just a hairdresser, or you're operating, well, I'm just a hairstylist. Well, how much money could I make? I can never hit. I mean, you know how easy it is to hit six figures, which is $100,000 as a hairstylist, as an independent. There's absolutely no reason you can't do that. And multiple six figures as salon owner. Everybody's situation is different. It depends on what your business structure is. But guys, if you invest in your own personal growth, shifting your mindset, good education in the technical end, and good business mentorship, you are unstoppable. I don't give a shit what the hell's happening on the friggin' news, because everybody's going to get their hair done. Everybody's got a head of hair, and everybody needs their hair done to some degree. So pick the degree and pick the client and market your services to people who can afford to pay what you want. It's really all up to you. You
It
know,
really is so much more simple than we think. You know, we get in this cloud of
ego.
negativity sometimes when we get down in the funk, and like you said, I think I 100 million% agree with the no news, because my mom, you know, I moved to Florida, and my mom will call me and she'll be like, are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. Because Florida, they make Florida sound like it's like another continent. And we're all like running
I
around
know.
shooting each other with big trucks and big flags. And I'm like, Mom, I'm fine. Like, what are you watching? But she does not go to bed at night until she watches the news. And it's the last thing she sees before closing her eyes. And I'm like, how do you sleep? You know, I've never turned it on. Well, I don't watch it at all, but if I happen to hear it, walk into a room that it's on, every single story is negative. Every
Yeah.
single one. There's no like man saves cat in a tree anymore.
Mhm.
It's like this one got shot, this school got blown up, this one is this one, like everything is negative. So it's like, to your point, I just say to my husband, anything that I need to know, like if there's a hurricane coming, I want to know about that. I can see that on Facebook. Dennis Phillips has us covered on Facebook, so I don't need the news for that either. But it's just such a mind set thing that's like when that's pouring into you, there's no room for anything positive. You're just like in this nervous bubble of panic.
Right. And guys, another thing I learned, it's not really about being positive all the time. It's simply changing how you believe. So if something squirrely comes up, immediately stop and be like, wait, is this really true for me? And sometimes you're like, wait a minute, it's not really true. And then you could shift how you feel, because it's how you feel and how you think controls your outcome, your feelings, your thoughts, all of it's connected. And, you know, I'm really big on intuition. Listening to that initial feeling is usually right. It's then
Always.
your ego, our brain gets involved. And once the brain gets involved, it just makes everything go awry. So if I can leave you with anything positive today, it really is take time to change your daily habits a little bit, make little changes every day. Be nice to yourself if you fall off the wagon. Don't beat yourself up with a bat, the invisible bat, you know, that we all have. Put the bat down. Find a community of like-minded people that can support you, that can be your, you know, your bouncing board, that can be your sounding board for ideas, that can give you love and support. And make sure you take really good care of yourself and find good mentors. And again, there's mentors in every price point. There's mentors all over. See where you need a little support and make that little investment in yourself. I promise you that if you start making your pile of proof like I did, do one little thing at a time. Once you start seeing that pile of proof, you're like, you know what, Maria was right. You're going to feel better. You're going to do better. You're going to look better. You're going to have all the money you want in the bank, because money is good. It's not evil. Wealth is abundance. It's an energetic exchange for a service well rendered. And the more money we have, the more good we can do. So that's another thing. Work on your money mindset. Who told you you didn't deserve it? Who told you it was hard to get? Who told you that you're just a hairdresser? Whatever those beliefs are, I want you to look at them, because I looked at them. Elaine looked at hers. Anyone that you may look up to, I'm sure they did the work on their mindset, because we wouldn't be here today talking to you about it. You
Absolutely.
can do it. You can do it.
Very beautifully said. This was amazing. So great chatting with you. We could talk forever and ever and ever. So we definitely have to do this again. Yeah, no, it's so great, because that was all such great advice. And I know people are going to hear it just at the exact right time that they needed to hear it. So thank you for that, my friend. This has been absolutely amazing. How can people find you and get in touch with you, Maria?
They can connect with me right on mariafontana.com. Follow me on Instagram at Maria Fontana Consulting, Facebook, Maria Fontana Consulting. You'll find me everywhere. And if anybody's interested, I will be launching it's for the new year, and it's a 4-week business jumpstart program. So you can just reach out to me. I can get you on that wait list. It's going to be super affordable, so everyone can have access to it to have the best year ever, because you are in charge of your results. Nobody else, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys. Love you.